Over the last 13 years, I've lost 60 pounds and kept it off. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 signs you're eating way too little to lose fat, leaving you exhausted, constantly hungry, having a lot of cravings, lying awake 2 a.m., wondering why you are working so hard but you still can't get lean. By the end of this video, you'll know if your calories are too low, how to fix your calorie deficit, and finally start losing fat in a sustainable way. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm making a new video about weight loss advice for busy professional men every single week. I use these strategies to help dozens of men just like you lose up to 60 pounds and finally escape the yo-yo dieting cycle. If you're tired of constantly losing and gaining the same weight, I want to help you get to your healthy self without giving up the foods that you love. First lie you've been told is that the lower calories you're eating, the faster you lose weight. I imagine that you are cutting your calories 500 calories and then you're cutting your calories with 1000 calories because that must be working even better. And you're probably at the point of you just been dropping your calories lower and lower, and instead of just feeling closer to your goals, you're just feeling so exhausted, obsessed with food, dealing with a lot of cravings, and you're barely having success getting through the workday. And I imagine that you're also lying awake 2 a.m. wondering why I'm eating so little but not seeing any progress or the transformation that I want. And I want you to use a more moderate calorie deficit of 300 or 500 calories, starting out with a 300 calorie deficit and a 45% of your daily calories coming from protein, 40% coming from carbs. And then you also want to aim with 1 to 2 pounds of fat loss every single week. Basically mean that you're losing 1 to 2 pounds, and that ideally, if it's in kilos, it should be 700 grams of lean muscle mass where you have a lot of fat being removed and also you are keeping a lot of muscle. So 700 grams is just ideal. And then every single week you are adjusting your progress. If you're not losing 1 to 2 pounds every single week, you need to adjust your weight loss plan. For example, you're working out 5 times in the gym with progressive overload and you're constantly adding more weight to the bar, and you are having 2 compound movements at the beginning of the workouts that requires a lot of energy, and then you are breaking down muscle tissues even further with using a lot of more volume, with constantly hitting 1 to 2 reps before failure, and then you go over to isolation movement. That could be 2-3 isolation movement, and you do that for every single body part. And then if you are not doing any cardio the first 2 weeks, then after 2 weeks of having the calorie deficit, then the calorie deficit diet is going to work, and then you're also having 6,000 steps the first 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you are going to introduce cardio, and then that could be 20 minutes on a stationary bike 4 times a week. And then you are just following that, and you are going to melt off all the fat, and you're also avoiding extreme dieting. And you're going to lose fat in a consistent way without destroying your energy and lifestyle. If you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me in my client transformation in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together, and I'll help build a game plan to help you lose the weight for good. So you've been told the second lie is that if you are hungry all day, your dieting must be working, and I'm someone who don't want you to believe that if you are not suffering, you are not making any progress. And let's imagine that you are at a point right now where your hunger just is increasing and you're thinking about food all day, you're struggling to focus at work, and you just count the minutes, the hours until your next meal, and eventually you're just going to snap. And when you come back at home from work, you're going to overeat and you're just blaming yourself, just having a lot of lacking of discipline. And I want you to build a more sustainable weight loss plan. You are subscribing to my MyFitnessPal subscription, premium subscription, and then you're putting in your daily calorie deficit, your macros, and then you're also figuring out the type of food and meals that you really enjoy by dragging from the library you have, and you are depending on how many meals you want to eat. I always recommend 4 meals a day. Let's imagine that if you are fasting until 12 p.m., you're having your first meal of the day. That is also, for example, if you've been working out in the gym in the morning, then when you have the first meal 12 p.m., you are having most of your calories coming from for example, allocated to there, because you're breaking down the muscle tissues, you are feeling very exhausted from the workout. You need to replenish your glycogen stores, basically just having more carbs, 40 grams at least, 30 grams of protein, and then you are going to give the muscles and also the body the right nutrition so you can build a lot more muscle, and the more muscle mass you're building, the more fat you will lose weight. And then you also want to have 40 grams of carbs, and also amount of the carbs that you're getting throughout the whole day should be 20 to 40 grams of fibers, because fiber is going to reduce the hunger levels throughout the day for you. And also having 4 or 5 liters of water throughout the day, that is going to reduce the hunger levels as well, because if you're in a calorie deficit, you really want to lose the weight, you need to sustain this calorie deficit. And the biggest struggle with sustaining it is often the calorie deficit just signaling a lot of hunger to you. And creating these meals, for example, having the largest meals of the day when you break your fast, and then 6 hours later, for example, or 3 hours later, you get a protein cookie, and that's like 20-30 grams of protein. And the second last meal of the day is with your family. You are having at least 30 grams of protein and 40 grams of carbs, whatever you like. It could be steak, sweet potatoes, it could be pasta bolognese, it could be whatever, as long as you are hitting the macros. And then the last meal of the day could be a very light piece of snack. That could be some Greek yogurt with some berries or cereal topping, and then you're going to feel full, happy, energized, and you are reducing a lot of friction because you've already meal planned the amount of meals that you want, and you are just losing fat without feeling that you are always having to control your hunger and feeling that you are not you are very hungry throughout the day. The third lie you've been told is that if your energy is too low, you just need more discipline, and you're just maybe feeling very tired because you're feeling that it's also you associated with being very weak mentally. And I also imagine that you're someone who is waking up so exhausted, you feel like your workouts are just feeling very struggling, and you have no energy after work. You're just lying on the sofa and you question yourself, is this really worth it, and why am I not able to stick to my diet? And the problem is not that you are lacking any motivation, it's just your approach is just being very unsustainable to maintain. And I want you to prioritize two things. The first is you're working out 5 times a week in the gym, and then you have 2 days off with active recovery. You are buying a yoga mat, you can stretch out, because if you are having a lot of DOMs, basically just mean that you have a lot of muscle mass that is, for example, you are having a lot of difficulty with pains in your muscle. That is also something that can be delayed if you're working out, so you're just feeling the tension and the pains later after, so that's also being delayed with the muscle mass. So I also want you to have a foam roller where you are stretching and you are removing all the tension by foam rolling the muscle group that you have been working out, and that is going to help you with alleviating a lot of the stress from your body and increase the amount of recover that you are having, so you're feeling fresh. And also stretching, because if you're stretching and being more flexible, you're able to get better workouts with range of motion, because if you are working out, you need to stretch the whole muscle. If you are only doing it halfway, you're not flexible enough and you're not able to break down all the muscle tissues. And prioritizing 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single day helps you also reducing the cortisol. If you have high cortisol and a lot of stress, you are having a big trouble with, for example, releasing the muscles, for example, releasing the fat. If you have higher cortisol, the body is just holding on to the fat. And also, I also want you to have a scheduled diet break. Let's imagine that after 12 weeks, you need to be on a diet break because you've been busting your ass off, your nervous system is overgeared, you have a lot of symptoms of overtraining because you've been busting your ass off in the gym and following your diet. You're just feeling more mentally fatigued and you don't have a lot of motivation and a lot of pains in the joints. And then by having a 2 weeks off from working out in the gym and doing all this excessive cardio, you want to calculate your new maintenance calories. To put in your stats in a macro calculator with your new weight, your, for example, how many, your age, gender, and then you are just getting the new maintenance calories. You're eating it for 2 weeks, and then afterwards you go into a slower calorie deficit or 300 calorie deficit. And by doing this, you're going to have a lot more energy to train, work, and just be able to lose weight faster. Fourth lie you've been told is that a slow metabolism means that you need to eat even less, and you are also maybe thinking that your metabolism is broken and you need to cut your calories even further, and you've been at the point that you've been reducing your calories so many times, but your weight loss just keeps slowing down and you're feeling so frustrated that you're eating even less and your body's just looking like the same. And like in the middle of the night, like 3 p.m, you're thinking, is my metabolism really broke? And I want you to understand something that's called metabolic adaptation, and that basically just means that you need to adjust your calories and also expend even more calories. So if you've been consistently eating, let's say 300 calories below your maintenance, and you're not losing 1 to 2 pounds a week despite doing 4 cardio sessions of 20 minutes on a stationary bike after you've been working out and 6,000 steps, your body is just being accustomed to that. So how you manage that to break through the weight loss plateau is that you are increasing the amount of calories you're burning. So instead of 300 calories deficit, you increase that with 200, so it's 500 calorie deficit. Instead of 4 cardio sessions a week, it's 5 cardio sessions a week of 20 minutes on a resistance bike. And you should also have an idea of the amount of volume. For example, if 10 is like busting your ass to the wall, and then you have 6, 7, that is like the amount of how hard you should be performing. And also instead of 6,000 steps, 8,000 steps. And then you are just focusing on being consistent and trying to follow that every single week. And then you're going to fix your weight loss approach, and you are not cutting mindlessly your calories, because if you are cutting it way too fast, you have no energy for anything. The last lie you've been told is that you need to stay in a calorie deficit until you reach your goal, and you're also believing that the longer you are in this calorie deficit, the better your results will be. And you're most likely been on a calorie deficit diet for months, and you're just feeling so mentally exhausted. You have pains all over your body, and your nervous system just being fucked up, where you are most likely just thinking, I don't have any energy to focusing on anything, and you miss just eating normally. Your workout is suffering because you're just feeling so exhausted, and deep down you know that you are just one stressful week from quitting your job and also your weight loss journey because it's just too hard. So that's why I always recommend, like, after 12 weeks you've been losing a shit ton of weight and also body fat, then you go into this new maintenance calories that I've been mentioning earlier. You have a new weight, you put that into a macro calculator, and then from there you just get in the new maintenance calories. You stay to there 2 weeks, just light cardio, walking 6,000 steps, you are running a bit, and then still the same macros. And then you are also going to figure it out from the before and after pictures you've been taking. Every 4th week you are taking new pictures. When you're starting out, you have a friend helping you. You are having shorts on, and then front, back and side in the same lighting, because that's the most accurate way to get an idea of how your body is changing, because you are losing weight every single week, but you're also losing a lot of body fat. And then also every single week you're hopping on a scale, you're taking a shit and also not eating or drinking anything. You are going on a scale, empty stomach, you get that weight every single week. That's how you accurate weigh yourself. And then you have measurement tape around your body. Just figure out how you're doing that through Google, and every 4th week, new pictures, new body measurement. And from there, you're just going to see how you are looking. If you feel like you need to build a lot more muscle mass, then you're going into a short mini pull, basically mean that you are increasing your calories from your maintenance with 200 calories, keeping the same macros. And then your workouts, you are doing 2-3 cardio sessions on a stationary bike a week, 6,000 steps a week, and then you are just following the amount of workout with the workouts in the gym, and you are constantly trying to increase the weight, because the more you're increasing the weight and adding that is called progressive overload, the more muscle mass you're building, and that's just going to help you set up for a long run. So after this, if you're not getting 250 grams of weight every single week, you are just increasing the weight with 100 calories, and eventually you'll just hit a plateau where you're just feeling, I've gained enough weight after 8 weeks of mini pull. Then you go into a smaller calorie deficit of 300 calorie deficit, and then it's basically just the same as I used to say with just being in a smaller calorie deficit, 6,000 steps, same macros, no cardio first 2 weeks, and eventually you're just losing fat even faster. And after your new weight loss, you reach your 12 weeks of weight loss, you're going to look way much better because you have a lot more muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have with a lower body fat, you're appearing bigger because the muscle is just being bigger, and the skin around the muscle is just looking very thin, so you appear more toned or shredded. And if you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like you saw with me and my client transformation in the beginning of the video, there's a link in the description and also in the comment section where you can apply for coaching with me, and we'll see if you and I are fit to work together, and I'll just help you build a game plan to lose the weight for good.